Welcome to the Inspired by Jacqueline podcast, a refreshing place for women struggling with entrepreneurship, faith, or infertility. Stay tuned for today's episode. Hey everyone, Jacqueline here again, and another episode is here for Inspired by Jacqueline. I am excited to bring on our next special guest, Yomarie Llanos. She is based in New Jersey, and she is a brand stylist and the founder of Lux Social Studio, where she helps entrepreneurs elevate their online presence through intentional branding and social media strategy. Known for her warm, grounded approach, Yomarie blends aesthetics with clarity to help clients show up confidently. And we're going to talk about that and look good doing it. She's worked with coaches, designers, creatives, and service pros across industries to build brands that feel aligned, not forced. And again, we'll talk about that too. But welcome, Yomarie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited because we've met each other quite a few times. And from the first time I met you, you are always bringing that smile and that positive energy. And I know in your bio it says that you're known for that warm, grounded approach. And I believe it because you make me feel warm and welcome every single time I see you. So I'm glad to have you here.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very happy to give people that feeling. It's definitely something that helps in my business for people to feel comfortable with me. So it's definitely, and I'm a comfortable place for my friends as well. So it's definitely across the board, but thank you so much. It honestly means a lot.
And super excited. Like I said, you're Puerto Rican. Are you from Puerto Rico or were you born and raised in New Jersey?
I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. I moved to New Jersey actually to start high school. So I still have my most of my family's there. My best friends are there.
What part of Puerto Rico?
Carolina.
Oh, okay. My family's from Bayamón and Orocovis.
I'm in the more touristy area.
So, how do you start your mornings?
I definitely fall into the group of starting my mornings with a little TikTok scroll. I'm not gonna lie. But
Oh,
I wake up, I turn over, and I open the app. And then I look at my notifications, check if anybody needed me. And then I usually go into the getting ready, working out. I definitely do my self-care first. And that
mhm.
way I can like jump into work for the rest of the day and feel more fulfilled with my day if I start it that way. But definitely I need my little TikTok time.
Okay, so why do you start off with that first?
I think for me, it still brings me joy. There's times where things can get a little dark on there. If it happens, I tend to get off, but it's usually it brings me a little, at least 30 minutes of joy. And I've gotten a lot better at like cutting it off, like being like, okay, at this time, I need to start actually getting on with my day.
Do you think it's because you are a branding expert? Do you think that that's what drives it?
Definitely. And I definitely get ideas a lot of the times. Like I was talking with someone today about how I'm sure as entrepreneurs, we know that it's like it never stops. And
Mhm.
there's times where I'll fall asleep looking at backgrounds on Pinterest and like just scrolling as I'm like trying to wind off for the night, even though
Mhm.
that in itself is giving me inspiration and like keeping me awake in a sense. But at least currently, I very much love that because when I go on TikTok in the morning, yes, it's the funny stuff, but then it's also intermingled in between. It's like inspirational things or
Mhm.
things about branding that or updates that I want to know, and definitely checking in on my clients' things as well, and just getting it out of the way before I take a moment for myself and then go into business. But I feel like everybody's so different. There's people that would rather go straight into work and then finish off. So it's what works for me. It's
Oh, that's cool. Like it's the first person that I've interviewed that is like, oh, I start with TikTok first, but I can
I'm sure
see
some of
why
them do,
you
but they
would.
don't say it.
So are you a cafecito girl or are you a tea girl? Or
I
none
am
of the
I'm a
above?
Cafecito girl, 100%. I don't do
Oh,
tea. But I've never been a I need it to function. It's
okay.
more of a I like to have it to sip on. It's like a little treat to
Okay.
have while I work, but it's not caffeine doesn't do necessarily a lot for me.
I need it. But I've gotten better because for me, it's been like I just get it in the morning and then I'm done. So when I
Yeah, I
used
do
to work,
one.
yeah, when I used to work in the corporate world, it was like every single hour, there's a break room, let me go get coffee. It was constant. So I was like, okay, I got to regulate this now. It's got to regulate it. Life as an entrepreneur, was that first? Did you have a career beforehand?
Yeah, I definitely was always attracted to the idea of beauty. I feel like it
Mm,
was a hobby throughout any hobby that I did and a talent that I have that it's like my friends will get me even to do decor because if I just see it and I put my hands on it, I can do it. So that made me want to be a fashion stylist, want to be like designer. I tried to do design clothes for a bit and it ended up with me doing public relations and I studied at Montclair State University
okay.
for public relations and public and professional writing. And then from that, went into social media management for 5 years, just
Mm,
under an interior design firm, and getting to not only be the social media manager, but the media manager in general, and pitching to
mm,
magazines and doing website design and podcasts and launching brands and doing all those things. And that made me be like, I'm not just a social media manager. I don't want to just do social media, especially because every single client is so, so different. There's some that don't even care to be on social media. They just want like the very beautiful website. And I want to be able to jump into these places because I love being able to be the person that connects their vision and bringing it
mm.
to life in a way that still feels like them, but also connects with their ideal client because I feel like
Right.
that gets lost in the bit a little.
Yeah. And so, how did entrepreneurship come into play?
It came usually, I feel like as most of us do, I feel it's the word of mouth
Yeah.
and it's someone recommending you to someone else and then someone
Hmm.
recommending you to someone else and then suddenly it's like, oh, I
I should
do
do
this.
it.
Might as well lean into this. And then, of course, it's the self-worth journey of might as well invest into myself instead of investing into a corporate or something like that and invest into my dream and my own rules and be able to do what I know I love for other people. And I think it's like almost going to be 3 years ago, I officially started Lux Social Studio. And
Mm,
that has also changed over time because it started off as just social media management. And then I got a business coach. And then we came up with the brand stylist concept because I do logos, but I also do social media management. And then I also do
mm.
mailers. And it just kind of, I pitch to magazines. It really depends on the individual person that I'm dealing with at the time.
So you have a whole concierge type.
Yes. What has made it very different, especially through working with a business coach and just working with other clients, has been the fact that I offer now the Starter Glow Up, which is the package that I give to any client that I work with, included into social media management or their website design, which is getting to the core of who they are as a brand, what it is that their values are, what they want people to understand from what they want to do, because it's very easy for us to talk in our own language instead of talking in a way that they are going to understand what it is that we're even doing for them. And
Mm,
even I catch myself doing this sometimes where I will just say, "Oh, do this." And then it's like, no, they don't know what that is. It's you're
mm.
there to connect those dots, but you're talking in a way that only fellow entrepreneurs would understand or
Yeah.
people in your own industry would understand. And it's being able to create that, create their brain identity guide, which will contain like all their personality, what blurbs they should use, how to describe themselves to people. And then I also create a dream client persona and
Mm,
research their ideal client and create a whole profile for them, what hashtags are
mm,
in and things like that. Because I see my clients as a book and it's like I'm
mm.
meant to fill in the pages. And that is a key. We want to know
Yeah.
who's reading the book as well. So it's like all these layers.
And had your company for 3 years, you said?
Yes.
What would you say to someone who's starting brand new?
I would say It always comes down to investing in yourself.
Mm,
And I think that is a very broad theme in the sense of it depends on what you need and what season of your life. And I would say if you are an entrepreneur, getting to the core of who you are as a brand is a big one. That is an investment. If you don't feel like you have your schedules together and things like that, then having someone help you with that, having a money coach, like there's so many places that you can invest that will make you
mhm.
feel that confidence and make you feel like you are earning what it is that you're selling. And
Right.
even getting to the core of your brand, I believe is one of the biggest things that gives you confidence because, especially as entrepreneurs, I feel that we all start basing our services off of other people. I feel this is a very
Mhm.
common, you can't help but to. It
Right.
you're literally studying from other people. Let's say you want to be a plumber, and I'm like, you're gonna be looking at plumbers, what they're posting, what services are they offering? Oh, maybe I should offer this service. And then eventually, I feel like usually it's like 1 or 2 years down the line, you start to really know, okay, there are things in this business that I don't even want to do. I don't even like that it's even on my website because if someone were to contact me asking for that, I'm gonna be like,
Mhm.
or it just doesn't feel like me, or I'm posting
Right.
videos and I sound fake. And it's that all comes to you not knowing what it is that you're
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
don't know what it is. You're still basing it off someone else. You're still not really feeling, even down to posting your videos, that helps. And that's investing into yourself. It's investing into showing up and getting dressed and taking the videos, editing them, and hearing yourself over and over again. In itself is manifesting. Like there's so many
Right.
things that you can do. And I
Yeah.
feel like getting to the core of your brand, of course, as a brand stylist, I'm gonna say
Mhm.
it's definitely a good one to start with, especially if depending on where you are in your journey, either at the
Mhm.
start or even if you're at a point where you feel like your business is stale and you're like, I'm gonna start this new journey.
Mhm.
That is a new phase of your life. That is a new investment that you can make to have someone help you. I feel like we're very much in a DIY like era, and it's like there's only so much DIY that you can do.
Oh, yeah. I definitely agree. When I brought on my coach, I was able to take a deep breath. I was able to now understand what I should be working on and what I shouldn't be working on. Um,
100%. There's only so much
yeah.
time.
Exactly. I was like, oh, I have time to do this now that I can really focus on it. I've seen so many times some people just open up social media and not create a website. And I
Mhm.
know it's different for everybody, industry wise and all of that, but do you have a preference? And if somebody were to ask you which direction?
I have a okay. I'm like, I don't fault someone that wants to just start putting themselves out there
Right.
and wants to set up a link tree. I feel there's different ways that you can excel at different budgets. If you don't
Mhm.
have it at all to make a website, you
Mhm.
can make a free link tree, have things that people can click, have things
I
that people
like
can
that.
go to,
Yeah.
videos talking about what it is that you're selling, but it's you have to fake it till you make it. That is my motto. I feel like it's part of marketing. You have to put on this persona, and
Mhm.
that includes a website. That it does include it at some point because at the end of the day, it's credibility. It's like
Yeah.
even published in magazines. We all love the logos on our website. We all love to get that credibility. Now, do people still read magazines a lot of the time? Not necessarily. It's a not as big of a field as like social media or TikTok or things like this, but it's still something that remains over time. And I do think that
Yeah.
that's the same as a website because the moment you go and you're like, where's their website? And you're like, I don't see it. There is a moment that your brain is like, why don't they have a website?
I've done that. And because, again, in the work that I do, most of my clients, they're looking for that. For them, it's all about that trust factor, that legacy factor of how long they've been in business. But I did like what you shared, which was Linktree. That's another form, like
Yeah.
a little stepping stool, right? If you just want to do Instagram or social media in general, having a Linktree or something similar to a Linktree would be a great first step into a website,
It's
a
like the
brand.
little like trial. It's like because
Yeah,
if you do that, you're gonna want to. I feel like once you
like
start
that.
investing into yourself, you're gonna want to keep going and keep making things and keep adding on to it. I keep changing 45 seconds. I'm like, every time I look at it, I'm like, why is this here? I'm like, let me take this off. But it's easier for me because I know. And that's
Exactly.
why I can recognize that I can't do like coding. I can't do very extensive websites. But when it comes to making a beautiful Squarespace website, I can
Mhm.
do that. And then there's entrepreneurs that, same with social media as their website, they tend to not really put a lot of value in it should look good at the very
Mhm.
minimum, and links should work, and the copy should be clear. And there's like, you don't need to have like these like fancy buttons or the graphics or the videos. It's at the bare minimum, I should be able to go get a sense of who you are, who I'm working with. Same goes for social media, and which is the biggest reason why I'm a proponent for even Instagram and TikTok, because you want people to be able to get to know you before they even have
Mhm.
to think about how much they're going to be spending on you, no matter how much that's
Exactly.
going to be. And one of the best compliments that I receive, which is that people like to scroll down my page because
Mm.
it's like all the content feels continuous, but it's still
Mhm.
all very different and all very informational or funny, and like it just keeps you going. And the same goes for hairstylists or things like that. It's, if I am considering going to a hairstylist, I'm gonna
Mm.
go to your website. All of those are touch points that you need to get checked off. And sometimes people
Mhm.
think social media is more of, oh, I should get on this so that I can start bringing in clients immediately. And it's like, no, this is also just one of the step tones that no matter what, you should have. It's just, it's 2025 type. It's like,
Mhm.
that is one of the things that it's like, if you have a post going once a week at the very least, and you're at least following people here and there, and like keeping, it's all about keeping yourself in people's eye and
Mhm.
constantly popping up, constantly being there, because you never know at what point they're going to be looking like, oh, that's actually exactly what I need right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And oh my gosh, you said the word coding, and it took me back to when I did my first website. Oh Lord. I'm dating myself, like MS-DOS version, like
Mine was MySpace. That was my first coding experience.
I was like, I felt like I was a coder, but then I wasn't a real coder. It was like, but I
100%.
needed to learn, that's how I created my website, but basic type coding. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I learned it and I did it. And I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, okay, bold, you just do this and put the B and
You do the little thing and the slash.
and then call it a day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I did
And those are
that.
the things that I'm like, I know some coding. I am able to find where the color is or where to put the image and things like that, or how to paste something in. But
Uh-huh.
there are so many props to give to people that can be
Oh
like,
my God.
let me start a code from scratch and
So
build an
much
entire
props.
website.
Yeah, so much props. And thank you for sharing all that. The one question that I would love to ask is, what are some of the difficulties you have encountered or have seen some of your clients encounter when it comes to just identifying who they are, visibility, and how they show up on social media?
I think it always tends to be the two words that come up for me in conversation about this is ego and perfection.
Mm,
It's
mm,
the idea of people are going to be seeing me be different and being different than what I was. And I am autistic. That is one of my layers and one of the things that I feel make me be able to connect to people better. And in that sense, I understand the idea of being perceived in a different way than what they have known you to be perceived this entire time. And it's like, what are people going to think? It's like suddenly I'm posting, like, who do I think I am? That type of thought process.
mm.
Whereas people are probably going to be just, oh, wow, she's posting more. Like, oh, look, she's popping up. And it's like the people that don't think and they think the negative thoughts, those aren't your people anyway. That shouldn't stop you
Exactly.
from showing up and starting to build your own legacy. And I had to go that myself. We all have the, even though I have friends that love me, it's the idea I was like, I'm going to post videos talking about myself being a brand stylist and just actually saying what I do in my life. And it's then they were there commenting and supporting. And it's just, it it makes you feel confident in yourself. And you have to let go of the ego. I've had clients that it's the, I don't want to post too much because then my friends are gonna think that I'm whatever. And it's like, well, you are also, you are investing into yourself.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, not to be rough, but I'm like, don't take, and that is also why I'm like, my brain is like, that is also why I'm a proponent of networking and getting connected with
Hmm.
entrepreneurs, because you cannot be taking advice from someone working part-time, corporate, things like this, telling you, oh, like you're posting too much, or oh, you shouldn't be acting like that, or oh, those videos are cringy. It's like they don't know. They don't have to have that goal to be able to show up there and do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that does take bravery to be like, I don't care. I'm gonna post
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
I'm still on that journey. I'm still
I've been like that since social media started. I was a little like hesitant, of course. I again, I'm dating myself. I did start with Facebook whenever that came out, and the one thing that I really didn't invest too much time in social media was Twitter, which
me
now
either.
is
It
X,
never
but
clicked with me.
it's never it yeah, it doesn't align with me, and I tried it and then it wasn't for me. And so when I did kind of like a transition into Instagram, then now that was like my forte. And even though I have a gazillion platforms in Instagram, but each of them has a different conversation.
Hmm.
And when I did my rebranding last year, I actually created a new platform that kind of encompasses the three that I have. But with what you said, for me, I have always felt like I'm just going to say or share what I want to. I'm not going to be thinking about, oh, what are people going to say? And I've been very transparent and open with even a lot of different things that I've gone through personally and all throughout all three of my platforms, so
Hmm.
that I want people to understand I'm a real person, and in addition to being an entrepreneur, I have a personal life. And that's one of the things of owning your identity, letting people know that being an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, you are that person that is running your business, working on your business, delegating to your team. But at the end of the day, this is your business on a professional level, but also you have that personal level.
100%. It all adds to those layers of trust. Just like,
Yeah.
again, with the front-facing videos, I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall into the safety of voiceovers or
Mm,
music over the videos, which are great. They perform well, but I will say there is nothing like talking straight into the camera, just psychology wise. You are
mhm.
looking into this person's eyes in that moment. It feels like you're on a FaceTime call with this
Yeah.
person. And just the same goes for tone. And like you said, it's like just saying what you feel. You can always edit it after. We were talking earlier
Yeah.
about the magic of editing. You can always
Yeah.
cut out the ums and the likes and things like that, but you still sound like yourself.
Yeah.
And one comment that I always get from entrepreneurs when they're filming is I don't want to sound like the promotionally tone and the hi, like I'm this and that, and like having that really high up tone. And I say it always comes down to your first take, you're never gonna like it. I like long form because by the time that I have my third or fourth, I find that I found my voice and I'm like, okay, I'm talking more in my own register as if I
Mhm.
was just talking to someone in front of me. Whereas reading a script, you are
Mhm.
putting a tone because you're trying to keep up, and it's just have them for
Yeah.
reference, but try to say it in your own way. It
Yeah.
always makes you feel better about it showing up because then you see it and you're like, oh, that is me. That does sound like me.
Mhm.
Instead of seeing it and being like, who is this?
Mhm. So let's talk about entrepreneurship. What types of challenges have you come across?
I definitely, one of the biggest hurdles I came across was, I believe, community in general, in the sense of
Mm,
networking and being pushed into that, called out of a lot of insecurities that I didn't realize I still had, which was the bringing you back into that high school mentality of like, oh, like these people already know each other.
mm,
I remember I left my first networking event crying. Like I was like I didn't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to like come up and this, and then I ended up getting the business coach and she had me going to like 3 events a month. And
mhm,
then I met Gabby, who is the founder of We Are the Next Generation, and she would be like, do you want to do a table? Do you want to be a vendor? Do you want to speak on the stage? And then it's like after a while, which is what we all struggle to see in the long run, it goes to investing in yourself. It's the you have
Yeah.
to invest into the long run. It's like going to the gym and expecting results in 2 days. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen. It's like you go to one event, you can't expect to suddenly meet
Mm-mm.
30 people that are going to magically pay you the amount of money that you need. It's no. They have to also remember you. They also have
Yeah.
to remember your presence, constantly showing up and constantly also looking good, looking
Hmm.
presentable, showing up in a way that you're saying the same things over and over again in a way that connects. Those are the things that come in the alignment of a brand. But also, I think that was community. I feel like after 2020, and we all got very used to being in our own circles and being behind a phone. And I think getting back out there and being in a group of people and like having to just walk up to someone and introduce yourself and make connections, it has led me to so many places, so many different connections.
Mm.
I feel like I have support. And even to what I said before, we all love our friends, but there is nothing like having entrepreneurs in your
Oh
corner
yeah.
because the moment you share a doubt, they're right there to be like, okay, and what are you doing about it? Okay,
Hmm.
like you're complaining, but like, what are you gonna do? Do you want me to connect you with this person? Or anytime that they see you, they're like, okay, so how are you doing? Are you okay? Is your business okay? That's why I tend to love the female empowerment type
Hmm.
events because they tend to have structure. They tend to have a little structure. They tend to have speakers. They tend to have little breakout sessions and things like that. I don't tend to do well in networking events where it's just you show up and then you mingle and I'm like, oh, and then you're just shoulder to shoulder, like you spin
Yeah.
around and have to talk to someone and then spin around and talk to
Oh
the
my gosh.
being able to recognize that sometimes it's just not gonna be a vibe. I've gone to events that I will go to every table and they're just the people aren't necessarily talking
Yeah.
either. And then it's like I did the full lap and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just I'll just go home. And then I count it as, hey, I went, I put myself out there, I met a couple people. I feel like at least if you make one connection,
Hmm.
I think at the end of the day, you're still winning.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously, you work for more. You work for.
Yeah. And can you share what tips you would recommend someone who wants to invest in a table? And the reason I'm asking is because I feel that you do such an amazing job. You have some great props on your table. In addition to that, you're first and foremost such a connection, right? You look at people in the eyes, you connect with them, you make them feel warm and welcome. And sometimes I just see a lot of people by your table, like and it's like you have some gold on your table, like, but what tips would you give?
I think, not to say it again, but investing in yourself. At the end of the day, it's like it is another version of yourself that you're putting out there. And I have met entrepreneurs that, let's say they get an opportunity to do a table and they're like, why would I? That makes no sense. And I'm like, would a brand stylist table technically make sense? No. So I had to think and sit there and I was looking on Shein, on Dollar Tree, and just putting things together and like again, it also obviously goes back to the fact that I do have an eye for it for sure.
Mhm.
And I've worked for an interior design firm for a long time, so I have an eye for creating moments. But I think it's also just the way that my brain works, where it's like,
Mhm.
let's say, I'm like, one example I'm going to give is if I'm at the table. The reason that I have all these things is also, in a sense, a script because I know that the moment that someone walks up to my table, I can be like, oh, make sure that you grab some stickers. I'm Yomarie, I'm this. You can grab this and kind of like walk them along. And then by
Mhm.
the time that they're at the end, I can go to the next person and kind of walk them along and keep going. And at the end of the table, they can drop their business card. But it's in my
Mhm.
head, it's kind of like the social media game of by the time that they start the table, by the time that they get to the end, they're like, oh, wow. And I'll do little things like I have the little pill capsules where each
Yeah, I
one
love that.
you open it and you get a little post idea. And those are just things that after scrolling for hours and hours, it was like I put certain things together and I was like, you know what? This makes sense. This feels like me. And then it was the butterflies all over the thing because now they ended up being in my logo and it's like the E in Lux Social Studio is a butterfly. So I have the butterflies trailing up my tablecloth. Now I
Mhm.
have a butterfly tattoo. No, and I have butterfly nails. I could keep
Oh
going.
my God.
And so it's just, I think, even maroon, I tend to gravitate towards. It's very big in my brand. So my tablecloth is maroon. It's all these little touch points that you have to hit in order to make someone remember you. You have like,
Mhm.
I think technically it's 7 seconds for someone to remember you. So you want to make that impression in any way you can. And that doesn't have to be as elaborate as I go into it and like handwriting all these little notes. It could just
Mhm.
be making sure that you have a nice takeaway for them and good postcards and have a nice tablecloth, and you could
Mhm.
have a really, really nice outfit to balance out the basic table and things like that. It's like it's just making sure that you are making an impression and also treating each person as, even if they don't end up being a client, just treating them as like, this person could end up paying me $1 million. I don't even know. And I want to look at them in the eye and like pay attention, ask them who they are, what they do, and just interview them basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, as a planner, I was always like, oh, why would I have one? But one of my colleagues, she was having an expo, a bridal and a quince expo. And she was like, oh, try it, and all. So I was like, okay, I tried it. And I tried it twice. And the first time I did it, I did get like at least two clients. And then the second time, partner had one other table. And so there was a lady and her daughter who were passing by him, and he just stopped her. And then he brought her over to my table. And she's been a client for 12 years.
And
I
that
do
is how it happens.
it.
Even one
You
of the
never know.
clients that I think in August we're going to be working together, she is a fashion stylist, but it was more so that she refers to herself as a wardrobe therapist. And I was like, oh my God, and I
Mm,
consider myself a brand stylist. That's a funny
yeah.
duality. We ended up talking about me being raised by my grandma. She was raised by her grandma. And then it's like, just
Wow.
with those little moments, suddenly you're like, I think you're my person. And that doesn't come unless you are actually putting
Yeah.
yourself out. It's like dating. I always go back to, it is like dating. You have to show up, put together, flirt
Yeah.
with people, and kind of get in that mentality. Though I do feel it's
Yeah.
easier for us being Puerto Rican. I feel like we're
Yeah.
very natural flirts. I get told all the time. But that way you feel more free and
Yeah.
comfortable instead of putting on a tight suit that makes you feel self-conscious or you want to sit behind the table. And that's when it all becomes a part of the whole thing. Same as you want to listen to good music as you go into these events
Oh,
and
yeah.
get yourself hyped up and be like, I am that
Yeah.
bitch. I am that person. I am a boss. I am gonna go meet people and do this. And by the
Mhm.
time that I block out at least like 10 minutes before I go into these events to either put hype up music or to talk myself up, even just right before this, taking a couple deep breaths before you meet someone or before you walk
Yeah.
into these rooms and just ground yourself and be like, I am here, I am valuable, I know what I'm talking
Mm.
about. I'm gonna go into this room and sell it. And it's like just walk in and go for it and detach from the ego and the imperfection. Because everyone is overthinking what they're saying at the end of the day. So nobody's really thinking that hard about what you're saying necessarily.
Right. Yeah. And I love that you share that because it can feel kind of like you can get lost in just the flow of everything if you just take a step back and take a deep breath and just be yourself. Because, like you said earlier, with bringing your personal identity to social media and to your brand is important, right? So, why should this be different, any different?
That's why authenticity is so big now.
Yeah.
It's people feel it. They know when they go somewhere and it's like, oh, I can tell that you're using a bunch of templates that people on Canva have used many
Mhm.
times, or you're using videos that look exactly like the 20 other videos that I've been seeing. And it's not
Yeah.
necessarily falling into, which people tend to confuse. It's not necessarily, let's say I'm a tax specialist. It's not, oh, there's so many tax specialists posts saying my
Mhm.
stuff isn't coming out. It's not coming out because you're doing the same stuff that they're doing. When
Exactly.
reality, if I talk to you, you're not that. You're talking to me like, well, why are you spending this when you could be doing this? And it's someone
Yeah.
would respect that more than you being
Mhm.
like, if you work with me, you can make blah 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 blah. I would rather you be like, hey, you don't know what you're doing with your money. Let me teach you because I actually do know what I'm doing and I can take it off your shoulders. And it's being able to talk to their pain points and being able to know how to do those things Whereas not getting stuck in what it is that you're saying necessarily. It's
Yeah.
just say it. Just be yourself. And if they don't like it, they don't like it. A lot of people struggle with that. Again, even with dating, it's the if they're not meant for you, they're not meant for you. If they wanted to, they would. If this client wanted to, they would. If what
Yeah.
you're saying clicks with them, it's gonna keep clicking. It's gonna keep making sense, and they're gonna keep getting excited by what it is that you're saying because you're being yourself and you're just showing what you know. And the because you are most of the time they're talented. Obviously, entrepreneurs, they're award winning, they are published, they are this. It's just that they don't know how to show up in a way that actually connects with the people that are looking and in a way that they show up to the meeting, their first meeting, and it's like, I've seen all your stuff and I already love you and I already know I love your content. And that feeling comes from things like social media and being able to look on the website. But it also is the authenticity. It's being able to stand out in a way that is unique to you.
Mhm. That's awesome. And so you mentioned that you are autistic, right? What would you share to anyone else who is autistic and is struggling with even trying to be an entrepreneur?
I think obviously we're all very different. I was like, mine definitely developed in me being very aware of social norms and the layers of people and the way that people interact and being able to see the nuances of conversations. And I'm the person that's like, what you just said is very passive aggressive. Like and then there's people that goes over their head. It's being able to see those things. But I feel like my biggest advice would be to kind of detach because I feel myself, I would overthink a lot how I was being perceived. And that in itself was stopping me from even showing up because it was
Hmm.
the idea of I was like, I can't control how these people are gonna see me and how they're going to feel about me. And it's like, are they going to like me? Are they not? And it's just detaching yourself from that completely and
Yeah.
just showing up as yourself. And if they like you, there's a lot of people that I have met that just them knowing that I'm autistic, it's like, oh my God, I am autistic or I have ADHD. And then we have to go back and forth. And it's just, you're just being yourself and you let that person see that you don't care and you're just showing up and you don't care. And I tend to not lie. I think it's also a part about autism. It's like people ask me a question and I will answer it. And I will trauma dump if that's what it ends up being. Sometimes, like, my first conversations with people tend to be very deep just because, like, not to brag, but as we said before, I do manage to somehow give this energy where it's people feel very safe
Hmm.
talking to me. And even with the things at my table, like, some people have cried looking at a little message and then they're like, no, I really needed that. And just being that person that's there and listening. And I think it's a lot of asking questions also, autism wise. It's not, I feel like I fell into the role of being the one that listens and
Hmm.
just letting people talk and and not being a participant in the conversation. Whereas it's a very easy mirror to listen, but also just kind of repeat what they're saying back to them in a different way or pick something that they said that you find interesting and ask about that. And then those are things that then they're going to be like, wow, that person really took time to like pay attention to me. And you do. I always say that there's a key piece in my brain that kind of is like, is it a little manipulative to think of such social norms that way? I think about it with friends also when I'm like, oh, like, do you want to hang out? I'm like, am I being manipulative by asking this person to hang out with me? Is that what I'm doing right now? And it's like, just being like, no, it's like, just show up, just do it, just do it.
I love
It's like,
it.
you're trying a little hard. And it's like, yeah, okay, it's fine. It's
That is so funny. But thank you for being transparent about that. And thank you know what the reason I asked is because you shared it. And I love when people are very authentic and transparent with anything about their life. And it's important for others to hear it who might be struggling with entrepreneurship. If they're a woman trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to just work around things that might be difficult for them or not.
listening to your body as well. It's
Yeah.
having the business coach helped me not feel as guilty, but I felt very guilty at the idea that I could get 8 hours of work done and do a
Mhm.
lot of stuff in those 8 hours. A networking day? Mm-mm. It's I will go to that 2, 3 hour event, and after being that person for so many people and being present
Mhm.
and asking and talking and doing all this and getting all these ideas from meeting all these amazing people and all these things that you want to do, by the time that I get home, knocked out.
Oh, I'm
And
done. Oh yeah.
it was
No, no,
and
no,
it was
no.
like taking away the guilt of like, hey, you still invested into your day. So it's listening to you if you need rest. And if there's an event that you go to and you're just not in that headspace and you're there and you're feeling miserable, it'll do more for you to just go home than to just sit
Yeah.
there sour.
The event that NGN and Self Care, Krista and Gabby, that was last year in that ballroom space.
Yeah.
I left there. Oh my God. I told Gabby and Krista, I was like, I was electrified by positivity. Like I never felt like that before. It was like overload. I had
Yeah.
to sit in my car for 15 minutes before I drove because it was like an overload of positivity. I was
Mhm.
like, what is this?
Like, where does this come from? And that also comes with the investment into time in the sense of that same thing was what sent me into a panic that first time because I was like,
Mhm.
I'm so inspired to do all these things. I don't have the time or the money to do all these things. It's like I just saw someone tell me that I need to fix my website, that I need to fix this, that I need to do this, that I need to get into magazines, that I need to do it. And then you leave there like, oh my God, there's so much I can do. Love your brand in a sense. But also, my business coach had me saying I love you to myself in the mirror anytime that I caught myself in the mirror. And at first, it feels very silly. It feels very like you're like, oh, what am I doing? And then after a certain point, it makes a difference. And
Oh yeah.
people hate to hear the you have to love yourself before other people love you, and that goes in all senses. It goes in business, it goes in
Hmm.
relationships. It's if you don't love what you do, your business, it people feel that disconnect because sometimes you don't even realize that the way that you're talking about your business sounds like you don't like your business. It
Right.
does sound like you're complaining about what it is that you're do because you're just like, oh, like it's like whatever. Whereas when you hear someone that clearly loves what they do, it
Mm.
doesn't take a lot of convincing because they're just sharing with you. They're like, oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
so like when I tell people that aren't even interested in getting my services, I'm just like, I love Canva and I love doing this and I love playing with colors and getting to mask and figure
Mm.
out what character my clients are and how it is that I can take their voice and put it into posts and blah blah blah. And through just me sharing what it is that I love about being a brand stylist and being a social media manager, other people come. And that is how I approach
Mhm.
content for people. It's stop thinking of making a video that someone's going to see and they're immediately going to buy your services. No, just talk about what you do.
Yeah.
What is it that you are literally
Yeah.
doing with your clients and just go off. Just,
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. And so if you had a superpower, what would it be?
I think, my brain went to two, so I'm gonna say two. One,
Okay.
I feel like the typical for me is a mind reader. I would love to not have to guess what people are thinking all the time because I definitely have a lot of guesses and most of the time that they're wrong. But then a second one, which also goes with my world, is a shapeshifter. Like it's like being able to
Mm.
like transform into different people and like whatever. But I think overall, mind reader would be my number one. It would just be in any situation to be able to tap in and be like, what are you thinking?
And as a creator, it's a
Yeah.
content creator, for instance, it's really important because it'll bring you more clarity than
Yeah. My
trying to
client's like, I don't really
take
like
it
this.
out.
I'm like, what do you mean? What is it that you do like about it?
So, what is the biggest takeaway from today's conversation that you want listeners to take with them?
I feel one that I'm also still working on is just don't lean towards perfection. I
Mm.
consider myself a perfectionist. I feel like everyone has always dropped that in their resume. Like, I'm a perfectionist. Like, I am a perfectionist, and it takes a lot to show up and just be like, it's out there. It is what it is. And just keep doing it. Keep investing into yourself, just like the gym. It's eventually you're going to start seeing the results and you're going to start feeling people. If you're investing into your social media, you're going to build your community. People are going to start coming to you. They're going to start getting to know you through your content. And that way, you're not actually having to interact with these people. They're just getting to know you by you posting yourself, being yourself. And that in turn will help you feel more aligned with your brand. The more that you post, the more you're like, oh, what is it that I actually want to say? Do I even want to say this? Or actually, that's not even me anymore. What is it that is me now? And being able to look for information. So it's just always invest in yourself. I think that was the overall theme, and investing into yourself more than you do or others. I used to be a very people pleaser person, and it's a
Mhm.
very hard journey to get out of. But once you do, I mean, I can't compare it to anything else to be able to just set boundaries and trust your instinct and trust your intuition and invest into yourself and showing up and letting other people see you also.
Yeah, I love that part. So episode 56 is really key on boundaries and expectations and, putting yourself first and not feeling bad about it. So I share that because that's a conversation that I've been having throughout the last couple of years because boundaries, and I spoke at an event in March and I said, for just a second, put yourself first. Forget about if you have kids, forget about if you have a spouse, forget about, your family for a second, everybody else who's urgently texting you or whatever. Are you giving yourself time to
Yeah.
even think, to even breathe, to even
And the
like,
more you do it, the easier it becomes because your body knows.
yeah,
There are
your body
times
knows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are times that I'm invited to events and immediately I'm like, no, that's not one I want to go to.
yeah,
Or I talk to someone in person that I'm like, oh, that's not. I'm like, you're very nice to meet you, but you're not my person. I'll move it along. And it's being able to, you don't have to convince everyone to like you either. It's
yeah.
not everyone has to like you, and just being able to just go ahead. And whoever does, that is the person that you get to add.
That's and that's the one you're going to align with, right?
Yeah.
And you got to think about it that way. Not everyone is going to align with you, and that's okay.
You
But
don't
it's
want, you
being
don't
okay with that.
And it's also being able to be like, I've heard this in dating, and it's they don't align with you either. It's not the fact
Exactly.
that you don't align with them, because that's when you're in that need that I just want them to pay me. But it's like, but do you
Mhm.
even want to work with this client? Are they even going to make you happy, or are you going to be miserable every dollar that you're making from them? Whereas if you
Mhm.
just wait a little bit, and then there's someone that's going to be like, oh my God, I love everything that you do. And you're like, oh my God, I love that I can do this for you. And then you
Can
guys
we replicate them?
yeah, and then it's like, oh, that's why it's so, and that's an easy yes. You didn't have to be like, "Ah, but I need the money and I don't like them, but I guess I'll spin to do it." It's like they get excited, and by the end of that call, you're like, I'm so excited that I'm gonna work with them.
Is there anything else you would like to add based on what we discussed or something else?
One thing that I love to offer, my Instagram is at Lux Social Studio. And if you go to the link in that bio, I offer free brand assessments that are just like a little simple document. And it comes with a video from me telling you what I think of your brand, what I
Oh,
think can be done better, and things that you can do to make it better, as well as tell you a little more about myself and what I offer. But it's completely free, and you can sign up on the link in bio at Lux Social Studio.
awesome. Because that was my next question. How can they connect with you? Do you prefer they connect with you on your website or your Instagram?
My website is luxsocialstudio.com. That is where you will be able to see. I also post articles there, giving little insights here and there, as well as my services where I offer a starter glow up. That is the document where I prepare how you should talk, what you say, what are your values, what is it that you're trying to communicate to people, and then I also create a document with your dream client persona so that you know exactly who it is that you're talking to, because it's very important so that you know what hashtags are they using, what values do they have that you should be kind of changing what you're saying so that it appeals to them in a way that still is in alignment with you. It's the duality of both. And then I also offer social media management long term as well. The Starter Glow Up is a one-off package just to give a little sense of how it is to work with me before we go into social media management, since it's the first month of any of my clients. So it's like, I was like, might as well offer it as a little one-off. But that you can find there. But I would love to connect people on my Instagram. That's definitely my favorite one. I also post on TikTok. It's the same. Actually, it's at Yomarie Llanos on TikTok, but at Lux Social Studio on Instagram.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Yomaris. And I want to tell people how I met you. We met actually networking. We connected during a various, I think 3 or 4 already.
Yeah, I think the
Um,
first one was a vision boarding one.
Actually, the one we really connected was that one. So
Yeah.
we met briefly at the NGN, one of
Oh,
the
true. The hall
that
one.
one.
Yeah.
But it was like not that, we didn't speak that much. And then it was at the vision boarding. That was really a lot of fun. Great location also. And we actually, got to actually have a conversation and all that. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna call you for my podcast. Then we saw each other again. I was like, I gotta make sure that I let you, because life be lifing and
100%.
but I felt like such an instant connection. So I'm happy to have you here finally.
Thank you. And
And
I'm
I
so
can't
happy
wait
you
to
had
see you. Yeah, and I can't wait to see you again. I'm definitely going to reach out to you with a few questions. Thank you so much for sharing. And thank you everyone for listening and tuning in. And stay tuned for another episode of Inspired by Jacqueline. Make sure to subscribe, follow, leave a message, and connect with your Yomaries. Okay, so take care and make sure to visit her and that information that she has, which Yomari, say it again, for them to
this.
get that free check-in.
Yeah. You can get a free brand audit if you visit my Instagram at Lux Social Studio and the link in bio.
Awesome. Well, talk to you soon. Ciao.